Welcome everybody to a black screen. Because eventually... There we go. Welcome everyone to the next part of the award season calendar nomination discussion. As if I eventually change the title. The Critics' Choice nominations are, well, predominantly out. We're still waiting on the Lifetime Achievement Award, but whatever. We'll no doubt we'll bring that up when we actually get to our predictions. But as ever, I'm actually a host for this sort of thing, and joining me as usual is AJ.
Yeah, this is the one that for some reason a lot of people have cared about before, but we on this channel have always called it "Who gives a fuck?" It's Critics' Choice, basically. So,
And Owen.
Hello, Internet.
What?
we also, to gauge how we feel about this, this is usually not its own video.
No.
That's just how it worked out. So
because of the way that the nominations got talked about, we won't just be talking about that, because should we bring up the fact that my prediction from 12 months ago has just gone very, very wrong? Everyone was predicting Jonathan Majors for his bodybuilding film, and now having been found guilty of assault by the case and facing up to a year in prison, Marvel have cut ties with him in terms of his Kang stuff any further. So, I'm guessing Avengers: The Kang Dynasty is either going to have a recasting, or we're totally changing idea on that. And
They recasting.
And certainly, you won't be seeing. What was the bodybuilding film? I'm trying to remember.
Magazine Dreams.
Yeah, that will be nowhere on predictions.
I mean, I haven't been caring that much about Marvel lately anyway, but what I heard was season 2 of Loki kind of could be seen as a closing if they just want to stop it there.
Yeah.
Which would be best, because this hasn't been the whole Kang thing hasn't been the greatest run. I still think Ant-Man 3 is probably my least favorite movie of this year. So that could just be me, but
in terms of more, I guess, positive awards talk, an interesting, I guess, early leak from Variety regarding of the upcoming situation for the music categories at the Oscars. Unsurprisingly, Barbie has got its full 3 in, which is the 3 that are practically in everywhere, including the Critics Awards, which we'll get to. But some interesting omissions. Little Mermaid is not eligible, predominantly because it's too similar to the original, apparently.
Oh, drat.
Diluted by the use of pre-existing music is the wording that they use. But also, interestingly, Daysplar is really going to be suffering, because Flora and Son, Asteroid City, and Wonka have all been disqualified as well, because of diminished in impact by the predominant use of songs. I'm trying to work out. Was there that many songs in Asteroid City? It didn't feel like a musical.
not that I remember, but I could also imagine they might be like kind of in the background a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To the point that they almost blend in.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like when I've always talked about when I saw Forrest Gump in the theater a few years ago. with theater sound, there are songs in that movie I never knew were in that movie.
Oh wow.
Because it's just like constant in the background, and sometimes it's really quiet.
Diane Warren's got technically 4 in. The Magician's Elephant and My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 being the sort of minor ones, but the 2 are stronger ones possibly that could make it in is going to be You from 80 for Brady and The Fire Inside from Flaming Hot. Yeah, an Eva Longoria movie might be getting an Oscar nomination because of Diane Warren. Then again, with the way Diane Warren works, that seems to be a lot of the case with her stuff. It's like this movie that's absolutely nowhere gets in.
There's so many examples, but the very first one that came to mind when you said that was Breakthrough.
Yeah. Flaming Hot was okay. It's just not, it's not like it's a bad film. I'm trying to remember if that the Breakthrough was a bad film.
Yes, it was.
I have been told. There we go.
It's it's an attempted feel good movie that's also a faith based movie. You tell me.
Oh,
Oh boy.
we're in that murky waters, right?
And it's also it was also just kind of funny to me that Topher Grace plays like the preacher that's like really motivating, and it's like having Topher Grace play a motivational speaker right after he played David Duke was just
Yeah. So we'll get into the actual critics' choice talk for a little bit. We'll cover the TV categories first, then we'll go to a little bit of chat and whatever in the gap in between. So, best comedy special has got Alex Borstein's Closet and Clown Suits, John Early's Now More Than Ever, John Mulaney's Baby J, Mike Birbiglia for The Old Man in the Pool, Trevor Noah's for Where Was I, and Wanda Sykes for I'm an Entertainer. As I mentioned last week, because the TV awards came out like 2 weeks ago, barely any of the names in this match up with the Golden Globes ones. Which is kind of hilarious.
I was really happy to see Mulaney here. Well, honestly, that's the only one I saw. But also, I just love how kind of cathartic that special was, but while also showing it was still him in like top form.
Mm-hmm. The nice touch as well, just looking at what it says when I hover my cursor over it, the fact that it was recorded in February and went up on Netflix by the end of April. Whereas traditionally, at least when they came out here on DVD, it was practically always filmed the year before. I guess because then if people wanted to actually see the show, they wouldn't be complaining, oh, I should have just bought it on DVD and saved the money. For Best Talk Show, we have Graham Norton, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Kelly Clarkson, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, Late Night with Seth Meyers, and The Late Show with Colbert. Interesting that Norton made it in.
Is this the first time he's been acknowledged here? Because I feel like it's common knowledge he's by far the best talk show host, like, working.
I'm trying to have a look. No, Norton was acknowledged in 2015, where he lost to Jon Stewart, and 2016 when 2016 normal, and then confusingly they decided to have the following year's awards within the same year. And then of course 2019 they didn't even have a talk show category, so what the hell. Weird. Also weird, I think this is the only category that's doing this year, at least outside of the series ones. Foreign language series is actually up to 7 from its 6th, I think it was last year. So for foreign language, we have South Korea's Bargain, which is on Paramount Plus, South Korea's The Glory, which is on Netflix. Italy and the UK is The Good Mothers on Apple TV. The Interpreter of Silence from Germany and Poland on Hulu. Francis Lupin on Netflix. And then 2 more Korean ones. Mask Girl from Netflix and Moving from Hulu. So what we're establishing is South Korea is still, putting a lot of good content out there. It's not just Squid Game. Then on animated series, Bluey's here again, alongside Bob Burger's Harley Quinn, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Star Trek Lower Decks, and Young Love. I'm pleased to see that Scott Pilgrim made it in so recently after it only just debuted on Netflix. Then into the limited series / TV movie category. I'm trying to see if there's any in here that are actually TV movies. Oh yes, there are. Few.
I think there's like 2, I think.
Yeah. So for supporting actress, we have Maria Bello for Beef, Billy Boulay for A Small Light, Willa Fitzgerald for The Fall of the House of Usher. Okay. Arja Naomi King for Lessons in Chemistry, Mary McDonnell for Fall of the House of the Usher. What the hell? Really? It's not that good. And Camilla Morone for Daisy Jones and the Six. Fall of the House of the Usher is such a problem when it wants to do every single Poe thing in its stuff rather than just the Fall of the House of Usher. That'd be like, Muppet Christmas Carol, but we also incorporate Great Expectations and Oliver Twist and the Pickwick Papers. No. For supporting actor, we have Jonathan Bailey for Fellow Travellers, Taylor Kitsch for Painkiller, Jesse Plemons, he's in there, for Love and Death, Lewis Pullman for Lessons in Chemistry, Liev Schreiber for Small Light, and Justin Theroux for White House Plumbers. But not Woody Harrelson. Okay. It's hard to say you should have one or the other, but for actress we have Caitlin Dever for No One Will Save You, Brie Larson for Lessons in Chemistry, Belle Powley for A Small Light, Sydney Sweeney for Reality, Juno Temple for Fargo, and Ali Wong for The Beef.
Yeah, there's a couple of things here. Like, I definitely wanted to watch No One Will Save You because Caitlin Dever is like one of my favorite people, but I just never got around to it. And despite having been caught up with it since it began, or not since it began, but since at least season 2, but forward, and then watching 3 and 4 as they aired, I have not even started Fargo yet for season 5, and for some reason I just don't feel motivated to, for some reason, because the cast is appealing, but for some reason I'm just like really dragging my feet getting to it. I don't know. I don't even know if I haven't really even heard anything as far as the quality. I have no idea if it's seen as lesser or what, but yeah.
I'm kind of confused because Reality is actually, a movie that was on Max, but apparently at the Jerusalem Film Festival it won Best Documentary. I know it's based on, basically an intelligence leaker, but I don't think that counts as a documentary. I think. And then for Best Actor in Limited Series or TV Movie, we've got Matt Bomer for Fellow Travellers, Tom Holland for The Crowded Room, David Oluwayo for Lawman Bass Reeves, Tony Shalhoub for Mr. Monk's Last Case, The Monk Movie, Kiefer Sutherland for The K Mutiny Court Martial, and Stephen Yeun for Beef.
Is I don't want to jump the gun here when I don't know anything, but is Tom Holland here because of Tom Holland? Because I feel like I heard awful things about The Crowded Room.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let me look at the 34% reception. So really confused.
I guess I don't want to, automatically call something something when I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice I had heard that.
So in best TV movie, we have K Mutiny Court Martial, Finest Kind, Mr. Monk's Last Case, The Monk Movie, No One Will Save You, Quiz Lady, and Reality. I find it weird that we've got a Brian Hegeland movie, I guess, along with a William Friedkin movie in Best TV Film, but okay. And then for limited series, we have Netflix's Beef, Daisy Jones and the Six on Amazon Prime, Fargo on FX, Fellow Travelers on Showtime, Lessons in Chemistry on Apple, Love and Death from HBO, A Murder at the End of the World on FX, and A Small Light from Nat Geo. I'm just noticing, how the hell did Murder at the End of the World make it in Best Limited Series, but it didn't make it in any other categories? Great. It's that again.
Well, I have nothing to say about the show itself, but Britt Marling and the director had a really good video in the Criterion Closet, so which is basically how I learned about the existence of this.
Oh, I'm trying. Yeah, I
So
remember now. That's the one that Emma Corrin was in and got the Golden Globe nod for, but apparently the critics don't give a crap about. But Tom Holland, yeah, crap show, but Tom Holland, yeah. Moving into the comedy categories. For supporting actress, we've got Paulina Alexis for Reservation Dogs, Alex Borstein for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Janelle James and Cheryl Lee Ralph for Abbott Elementary each, Meryl Streep for Only Murders in the Building, and Jessica Williams for Shrinking.
it's interesting to see the Abbott Elementary women here after the Globe said "fuck you." Apparently,
Yeah. Well, be interesting to see, because let me look at the timeline. That ceremony's on the 14th, so this will be the week before the Emmys. But of course, the Emmy results have been locked in since July, so there could be a lot in that will not be expressed in any of the other ones, which will be fun. For supporting actor, we've got Phil Dunster for Ted Lasso, Harrison Ford for Shrinking, which apparently the Globes didn't want to acknowledge, Harvey Guillem for What We Do in the Shadows, James Marsden in Jury Duty as himself. I mean, yes, but also Ebon Moss-Baccarat for The Bear, and Henry Winkler for Barry. In actress, we have Rachel Brosnahan for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Ayo Edebiri for The Bear, Bridget Everett for Somebody Somewhere, Deveri Jacobs for Reservation Dogs, and Natasha Lyonne for Poker Face. And then on the actor front, Bill Hader for Barry, Steve Martin for Only Murders in the Building. No Martin Short. So, was he bad? Kyan Novak for What We Do in the Shadows, Drew Tarver for The Other Two, Jeremy Allen White for The Bear. I'm not saying he's probably going to win, but and Defero Woon Atai for Reservation Dogs. I've only just noticed that Ted Lasso nomination in supporting actor is the only acknowledgement that Ted Lasso's getting for its final season, which is kind of crazy.
yeah, I was noticing that, and of course, just my usual annoyance at the underrepresentation of Barry, of course.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, the thing about TV that's really weird, especially when you look at comedy series, is so many comedy series end up basically becoming dramas, and it's with like comedy still in them. Like it's my understanding that The Bear is a comedy, but like everything I see and hear about it gives me drama vibes. So, and the same thing about the thing about Barry though is Barry got so much darker as it went, but every single episode still had a laugh out loud moment in it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure what Ted Lasso did, but like I said, Ted Lasso was really good what I saw, but I only got through like season 1 just because, like I said, nothing to do with the quality, all to do with the way I am with TV,
Yeah.
where I can just abandon TV and I forget about things.
I don't think out of the 3 seasons, Lasso's had really anything bad about it. And, you know, there was still humorous stuff in Series 3. Maybe, you know, again, sort of, not Barry or... Well, I guess Barry or Bear-esque, it was sort of doing some more drama stuff. And I don't know whether they're not putting it in because some of it will be considered woke by those people that are out there. Like they're complaining about Miss France having short hair rather than, you know, hair to her shoulders in real life.
The word woke has lost all goddamn
Yeah.
meaning. I'm especially looking at you, Bill Maher. For fuck's sake.
And then for comedy series itself, we have ABC's Abbott Elementary, Barry on HBO Max, The Bear on FX, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel for Amazon Prime, Poker Face for Peacock, Reservation Dogs for FX, Shrinking on Apple TV, and What We Do in the Shadows on FX. And then finally to the drama stuff for supporting actress in drama TV, we've got Nicole Beharie for The Morning Show, Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown, Sophia Di Martino for Loki, Celia Rose Gooding for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Karen Pittman for The Morning Show, and Christina Ricci for Yellow Jackets. And this is where I'm confused by the massive love for The Morning Show continuing, considering how it never shows up on anything that I notice.
Is it too Scorsese of me to always kind of be questioning in my head how we see Marvel series end up in drama?
I don't think you can say that they're comedy though. And obviously, because Loki got a second season, you can't say it's limited series. That's the only problem. I think if it was just standalone, like WandaVision were, and
There was
the other stuff, you could put it in limited.
Yeah, I think it's just because there's so much. Let me word this right. There's so much attempted comedy in Marvel stuff that they come off basically as comedies.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch season 2 of Loki, but season 1 of Loki has a lot of that, and it's often childlike too, like, oh, Loki put on a funny hat and shit like that. So, yeah, I think that's why I think that, I guess.
And supporting actor, we have Khalid Abdallah for The Crown, Billy Crudup for The Morning Show, Ron Cephas Jones for Truth Be Told, Matthew McFadden for Succession, Ke Huy Quan for Loki, and Rufus Sewell for The Diplomat. I'm surprised that I find it weird how McFadden is considered supporting, yet others are considered leading, and vice versa. It kind of is a mess because there's a lot of people in that show. I lose track of who would be considered in what position, but I don't recognise Truth Be Told.
Isn't that Octavia Spencer's thing?
Yeah, and it looks
That
like
she,
what's his
that
name
she's,
from Breaking Bad as well, Aaron Paul.
that she's apparently not nominated for.
But who is nominated? Segue. Is Jennifer Aniston for the morning show and Reese Witherspoon for the morning show. I'm just going to say them first because we also have Ingenue Ellis for Justified City Primeval, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, Kerry Russell for The Diplomat, and Sarah Snook for Succession. What is it with the morning show? And then for Best Actor, Kieran Culkin for Succession, Tom Hiddleston for Loki, Timothy Olyphant for Justified City Primeval, Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us, Ramon Rodriguez for Will Trent, and Jeremy Strong for Succession. Good list. Wow. Again, Hiddleston is like, okay. But I think everyone else is probably deserving more so of being in there. Loki Season 2 I don't think was as good as 1 was. And then for drama series, the 8 are Netflix's Crown, Netflix's Diplomat, HBO Max's Last of Us, Loki on Disney+, The Morning Show on Apple, Star Trek Strange New Worlds on Paramount, Succession on HBO, and then again, from out of nowhere, I can't make it in the categories, but it sort of makes sense with Ensemble in terms of that. Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. Let's hope that wins. And then HBO are like, we're not cancelling it. So we'll put it back on. You like it. So, kind of hilarious. Do you want to go through some of the stuff in chat, Owen?
Yeah, I can do that.
Sort out some stuff.
Showed my cousin's little girls Santa Claus is Coming to Town for the first time. Nice. I also read The Gingerbread Baby and the Gingerbread Friends to them, 2 books by Jan Brett. Better Man by Pearl Jam was on the radio today. And when I think Better Man, I think like second SGC. So yeah, it's like they're stable in GCW. Second Gear Crew. That's what I think of when I think Better Man. Anyway, the earliest I'll see Poor Things is probably the 26th of December. That's when my brother and I could go, but I'll come up with MST 3K riffs after I see it. I don't know how much you're going to be riffing on it, Josie. I think you're going to dig it greatly. I've been thinking about what specific things the crew could say when poking fun of the movies in the race. May December, they could make a joke about Gracie having an Etsy or Pinterest. When they cook the hot dogs, they could say they must have cut off all the hot dog fingers from the last year's Best Picture winner. That never happened. And decided to cook them and eat them for revenge. When Charles Melton is smoking pot on the rooftop cleaners are slacking off again. Oppenheimer, you're watching the Kids' Choice Awards with Josh Peck from Drake and Josh Hartnett from the faculty in Pearl Harbor. Josie says, Killers of the Flower Moon, when Molly sees the owl, they could say, Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? When Decap's character gets spanked, they could say, go on to the kitty corner with a dunce cap. That's time out for you. I heard Low Key Season 2 had a lot of McDonald's product placement. Yeah, I saw that. AJ, how about a MST 3K Quantumania?
Oh, it can be done. Especially, like I said, especially Corey Stoll humiliating himself, unfortunately.
Past lives. I hope they wash their hands after touching their subway rails. When young Nora says she wants to win the Nobel or Pulitzer Prize, they could say, yeah, dream on, kid. When John Magara's character is playing video games, they could say, I got a master GTA 5 where GTA 6 comes out. Fun fact, Tony Shalhoub and Brooke Adams' daughter's name is Josie. Still going strong since 1992. Rachel Zegler sort of looks like a young Brooke Adams. Whenever I hear the bear and Barry mentioned in the same sentence, I think of the South Park Woodland Critter Christmas episode where they say there was Barry the bear. Would love if at an award show there was a Captain Ron reunion with Kurt Russell and Martin Short presenting. Yes, yes, now let this happen immediately. Anthony Kerrigan has the same birthday as Todd Haynes, Dak Shepard, Tay Diggs, and Renee Elise Goldsberry. That's from January 2nd. Peter Friedman, Frank from Succession is actually in Todd Haynes' safe. Spencer says Owen is doing very well in these awards videos. He's very engaging. Great job. Thanks, Spencer. The check's in the mail, good sir. Songbird and Poor Things is a great double feature. You damn right it is. Hey, Spencer, says Josie. Spencer says, hey-oh, love Fallen Leaves and Perfect Days. January 10th is the Globes. Actually, it's the 7th. I know this because it's the same day as Live 18. The 12th is the Critics' Choice last day of voting. 15th is the Critics' Choice show. Really enjoyed Boys in the Boat. I'll see that in a couple weeks, Spencer. Godzilla -1 deserves an Oscar for the visual effects. What is Owen's favorite movie this year? Probably The Iron Claw right now. Overall. I mean, it's difficult because it's like, I got a lot of things. I got a lot of horses in the race this year. Iron Claw's in there. Oppenheimer's in there. Killers of the Flower Moon is in there. Poor Things is in there. Barbie's in there. There's a lot of things I have that are my favorites of this year. Love this content. Yeah, so do I. I know there's a dance scene in Poor Things. That image makes me think of the song Trippin' Billies by Dave Matthews Band for some reason. Yeah, there's stuff in Poor Things. Very interesting dance scene that you actually see in the trailer, actually.
How does it compare to Joe Alwyn's dance scene in The Favorite? Because that's gonna be hard to tell.
It's not the same at all, but it definitely carries its weight. Yeah, I definitely want to see Poor Things again sometime soon. I will be doing, for those of you that didn't tune in the other night, I did Iron Claw on Wednesday. I did Poor Things and Wonka on Friday. I'm doing Anyone But You because I'm tired of that freaking trailer with the Olivia Rodrigo song. But it's interesting and intrigues me. It's like Sarah Marshall, but good.
Sure.
Or maybe Sarah Marshall, but bad. It depends on how you look at it. I will say a lot roster. But
I can't.
one thing, go ahead, AJ.
I feel like Glenn Powell, he's the one that's in it, right?
Yes.
I feel like he's too likable for that movie to be as bad as like it could potentially be.
The trailer looks fine, honestly. I've seen the Red Band like 600 times now at this point. And they don't even, I mean, Red Band trailers are so like not out of the ordinary now. I'm just expecting them every single time. And honestly, you didn't have to go Red Band to drop the S word in a trailer anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I mean, that's something that's been prevalent for a couple of years now. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we'll die. Yes, Josie. For Corey Stoll's character in Quantum Mania, they could call him Humpty Dumpty.
They call him career suicide.
Ooh. Hey, it's still CS either way.
Oh, wow.
And the pyro goes off.
Pyro and Ballyhoo.
Yeah, I will be doing Anyone But You and probably my second viewing of the Iron Claw on Friday. And then the week after is Ferrari, Color Purple, and Boys in the Boat. And I'm still waiting on May December because you know my rule. Spencer says, love Matt Damon and Oppenheimer over RDJ.
Well, no. Well,
No?
I mean, I disagree with the over Downey thing, but I like the praise for Damon.
He's having a great year, yes. Spencer hold true that Air's one of the best movies of the year too, even though it's not going to get any recognition this year, unfortunately.
And Damon's so good in Air too.
Tell
I'm really happy with that Globe nomination. That was kind of unexpected, but makes me happy.
Any love that Air gets, any love that Blackberry gets, I'm going to be pleased with regardless because it deserves it.
Speaking of recognition, though, this is where I'd probably, if I had time, I'd go back to last week and Owen said, I don't think this person's getting the love after they missed in a category. And lo and behold, America Ferrera's being acknowledged with the See Her Award. So she isn't in the main body of the stuff in supporting. Oh no, wait, she is in supporting actress as well here. So
You're welcome. I made
Yeah,
that happen.
they am I out of line to say Critics' Choice went a little overboard on Barbie, or am I allowed to say that?
You are. It's your
I
opinion.
mean, the fact that obviously it's going to be overboard in the song category
Yeah.
is kind of a thing. You know,
I'm okay with that. They're all good songs.
yeah, that's the thing as well. You know, if that probably tells you the quality of the writing if all three songs made it in.
Well, they're all different artists too, and different, extremely
Different
popular.
styles, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Dance the Night's the boppy one. What Was I Made For was the sort of melancholy one, and I'm Just Ken is Broadway.
Lead by Billie Eilish and Ryan Gosling. It writes itself.
And I'm not trying to make it seem like I want Barbie to fail or anything, or I want it to match my predictions where I've been saying I feel like it's going to underperform Oscar-wise.
Understandable.
But at the same time, I just want to acknowledge that people might see the headline Barbie dominates Critics' Choice nominations with like 18 or something.
Mm.
And it's like, just also keep in mind that Critics' Choice is like YouTubers and bloggers and shit.
But
So
at the same
I mean,
time,
it's literally one step from us getting to pick the winners at this point.
at the same time, you can take one away for best comedy. In terms of like other awards things, you can take out the best young actor and actress, which wouldn't probably carry over to the other award ceremonies, and you can take out acting ensemble. So in that essence, if you take those three out, it's only 15 nominations in total for Barbie, whereas Oppenheimer and Poor Things have 13. So it's not as massively,
and
in the lead as it appears because of those three categories that won't carry over to other events.
and if you're going by Oscar rules, you could take out one of the songs from Barbie too, since there's three.
It's that nasty word we talk about all season, visibility. No matter how unimportant an award may seem on the surface, that visibility could propel it even higher.
Which is why I was really kind of hoping Glenn Howerton would have been here.
Tell me about it, man. It's ridiculous he's not. Hold on. More chat. I'm going to try to keep up on everything so we don't have to go at the end of the show because I need food or bad things will happen to everyone. October 21st, Glenn Powell, Andrew Scott, and Hari Neff have the same birthday. Spencer says, any awards movie disappoint you guys yet? I hated Rustin. I haven't seen it yet. I want to. AJ said good things about it. Overall.
I said good things about Domingo.
Yeah.
The movie's pretty generic. And like I was saying, like kind of a lesser version of Milk. What do we consider award season movies? Like movies that'll get nominated for picture or get nominated for anything?
I think we're talking about anything. I'm trying to think if something comes to my mind immediately that I was kind of...
I didn't go crazy for Wonka.
Yeah, I don't consider it an awards movie, but if you want to go in that boat, yeah.
Costume design. I feel like...
Why don't you voice your displeasure for Spider-Verse like you did last time?
There's a video for that. It's out there.
I got it for you. This is kind of a hot take. Okay. I guess I just don't gel with Miyazaki.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not bad. It's just...
I'm just...
really weird. And it's not my type of movie at all. I hated Napoleon.
In this age of movie discourse, I'm just glad you said hot take and then actually said a hot take.
I did like it. Like Josie brought up Napoleon being disappointing. Yeah, Napoleon sucked, but I wasn't expecting it to be great. I was saying from day one it wasn't going to be good, and I was proven correct. But I mean, movies are preferential. I mean, I went into a good example. A movie that AJ enjoyed, a movie that I enjoyed was Anatomy of a Fall. When it started, I was kind of losing it like right away. I was like, I'm not really getting into it. But then it got into the meat and potatoes of the actual story. I just got wrapped up in it, and it just like took me on a ride for the rest of the movie. And I was like, okay, let's go.
This was going to come up later, obviously, but since we're actually in this discussion right now of disappointing Oscar contenders or awards contenders in general, there's a movie that will be able to be viewed by everybody, or mostly everybody, in a couple of days. A movie I didn't really have any expectations for, and now I realize how hard I have to try to block out everything I've heard to make sure this movie gets a fair shake, because expectations are now through the fucking roof for a movie as time goes on. Everybody is absolutely losing their minds over Maestro. Have you seen all of this?
So
everybody, I don't know the last time I saw an interview in the last couple of weeks with some big person in the industry who wasn't praising Maestro, sometimes out of the blue.
I have a friend that's seen it. He was underwhelmed, but he was kind of like a little bit like wonky about Saltburn too. So it's like it may not be like, I mean, that's not for everyone anyway.
Yeah, I can get somebody not liking Saltburn.
Yeah, I get that. But the thing about it is like I feel that when he told me that, I was like, I want to see it for myself. I've got a lot of hope for the movie.
Yeah, I almost feel, I mean, its awards chances are going to be fine because the industry has spoken.
Yeah.
But as far as everybody else, I feel like there's going to be there's going to be so many people that this like does damage for, because they'll be talking about how overrated it is or how it was too built up or something, because it is so built up right now.
I hate to talk about potential awards contenders that are a letdown. Like, we usually get the vitriol every single year of like at least one movie we all are like against in one way, shape, or form. Maybe to different levels of being against, but obviously last year we know mine. But the thing about it is, it's like, as of this very moment, the movies that really have the shot to run for picture, I haven't been disappointed in any of them. And the ones that are still to see, the only one that I really don't, it's that damn trailer, I tell you, every single time. The only movie that I don't really like have much interest in is The Color Purple. Only because I'm sick of the trailer, and I don't think it's going to do much more than the original did. For me personally.
Yeah, because right now, just looking at the picture nominees for Critics' Choice, because that's the list I have pulled up right now, 4 of these are very, very likely to be in my top 10, my personal top 10. And I still haven't seen 4 of them. I don't think we're going to have as good of a picture lineup as we did in 2019, where 6 out of 9 made my personal top 10. 2019 was a really good year.
I can honestly say, looking at that list right now, and this is like the first time I've looked at it, the only movie that Color Purple needs to knock it out of the park, because I don't think I'm going to dislike anything that's listed on that lineup, because I've liked everything I've seen so far.
I'm going to call it now. I'm going to bet you probably don't like The Color Purple. I don't know why exactly I say that. I just have a feeling.
I mean, it's going to be sandwiched between Ferrari and Boys in the Boat, so it's going to be a completely unique movie day that's going to last forever. So
I love Clooney, and I love Clooney as a director. Every time I see so much as a poster for Boys in the Boat, I want to go to sleep. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's inspirational. I'm sure I'd go, oh, that's good. Oh, I cared about the characters more than I thought, but ultimately I'll forget about it in a month, probably, if I had to guess. I'm like, based on nothing. I'm
Sure.
not going to go into the movie saying that's how I feel, and that's the end. But that's just the vibe I get so far.
It's Monday. As you know, what Tuesday brings is film bookings.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Migration, we've got Aquaman, we've got Anyone But You, and we've got The Iron Claw. That's what we have, and some random Bollywood stuff that comes here because that's what happens. We've got all of this right now. I am praying that in the next few weeks I get a May December or I get a Maestro. I mean, these are the things I really need to see. Right.
We were talking about this. You were able to see Marriage Story and The Irishman theatrically.
Correct.
And Netflix has done a lot more with their distribution since then. So I would say you're going to see May, December, and Maestro before too long.
It's like, it's got the AMC theaters, but of course, AMC doesn't show certain film companies. So I have to go to Cinemark to watch those. And then I go across the town to go to Deezerland to watch those. And I always watch at least one. The one thing that always comes to mind is Coda. Coda was one of the movies that was really hard to get, really hard to see, but I was able to do it.
Apple hates audiences.
1,000,000%. I'm just proud I got to drive my car twice.
Yeah.
I had to go to California to see Drive My Car for sake of argument, so it's fine.
I love how out of context that sounds like you went to California just to see Drive My Car.
Hey, I spent 2 weeks in California. It was an amazing time. I got to see Tick Tick Boom in a theater. That was great. That Netflix theater was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We go back to chat real quick. Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis was on the radio today. Josie, Oasis is my favorite band of all time. So everybody knows I love my water parks. I love Taylor, but Oasis is my favorite band of all time. So yeah, I love Don't Look Back in Anger. It would be funny if the Poor Things trailer had Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, keeping with the theme of bringing someone back from the dead.
Oh my god.
That's kind of out there.
I just had flashbacks to Jennifer Garner and Sandbags.
Oh dear God. I still hold true to the fact that the reason why God's face is the way it is in Poor Things is because of Antichrist. You cannot tell me otherwise. When you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
This is an off point, but you just brought up Willem Dafoe, and it came out today, so I will just say that image they released of Willem Dafoe and Nosferatu, all I want in my life, before anything else, all I wanted in my life was that movie. And this is one of those cases where them releasing still images is actually paying off, because they're making me need this.
Very cool. Speaking of Poor Things, Josie says to Spencer, Poor Things and Frankenhooker double feature.
That could be fun.
That would be interesting. A lot of correlations between the two, actually, if you really put two and two together.
I really need a physical copy of Frankenhooker. I've got Brain Damage and like Basket Case and all that, but that one, Frankenhooker, is hard to get a hold of. Which is an odd sentence out of context as well.
Hi, Cassie. 25 years ago, The Prince of Egypt was released in theaters. That movie won Best Original Song. Said Napoleon for me was disappointing. Yep, very true. Wonka has great material for Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yep. I saw Boy and the Heron on Thursday with my brother. I loved it. It's okay, Owen. Yeah, Miyazaki, I guess, isn't for me. For a riff, they could say this is giving me some real Back to the Future vibes. I don't want to see those ginormous birds ever again. They're scary. The Heron and the Boy and the Heron need to see a dentist. So do I, Josie, but that's beside the point. I feel the Globes and the Critics' Choice are going to go all in on the Barbenheimer. Probably. Color Purple missing the comedy or musical lineup is a red flag. I think me seeing that trailer 400 times is a red flag. I feel like I'm going to kill that movie before it happens.
I just don't really consider anything about the Globes a red flag or a green flag.
No. Visibility. Visibility is the only word I ever can throw out for any award show until we get serious.
Yeah, I threw The Color Purple out of my picture nomination predictions like 2 months ago, but
Same.
the Globes didn't necessarily make me say, yes, I was right yet.
All right, let's go into the. Now we've gone through chat. I'll try to keep on that as best I can. Ashley, let's go into the important stuff, the movie awards.
So for foreign language, fights on multiple fronts, because we have Anatomy of a Fall and The Taste of Things for France, Perfect Days and Godzilla -1 from Japan, Spain's Society of the Snow, and the UK's Zone of Interest. I am pleased to see Godzilla -1 making it in. Especially because, again, if it wins, it won't carry over to anything.
No. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a bloodbath between Anatomy of a Fall and the Zone of Interest anyway.
Those are the stronger two, I would say, of a lot of them.
Zone of Interest, I'm extremely excited about. That trailer's so much doom and gloom. I have to see this movie now.
Yeah,
The thing that interests me the most is Glazer's filmography is so interesting, and everything is so different from the thing that came before it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Am I missing one between Sexy Beast, Birth, and Under the Skin? Is that it?
Yeah, just those four.
That's it.
And those four are so wildly, insanely different things.
And then, of course, don't forget, even before that, his TV work. His Surfer Guinness advert, which is considered, one of the best adverts ever made. I can't remember the music track that's used on it, but
Speaking of music, he's responsible for Virtual Insanity by Jamiroquai.
yeah,
That video is iconic.
Karma Police as well from Radiohead.
Yep.
Television commercials are plenty as well. He's like Spike Jonze, but I guess more critically acclaimed, I guess. Because practically everything...
Spike Jonze is pretty critically acclaimed.
Yeah, but like, I don't know whether there's... I'm trying to remember, was Birth Out good? Because I haven't seen it in a while.
I was very intrigued by Birth. I think a lot of people didn't like it. I think people were just weirded out by it and the concept, which makes people only think about the bath scene, which is really fucked up. But the movie's
That's
really...
the most
I remember being
divisive
really
of the four, because Sexy Beast is really good. That's been on my contemplation for movie club at some point. And Under the Skin is
the craziest thing about Sexy Beast is the tone. Is it an over-the-top crime movie? Is it a drama? Or is it a comedy? It's like all of them.
Yes.
And it's like barely an hour and a half. It squeezes all of that in to a very short runtime.
and the only that's the only one of the four that he didn't even write. He just directed. Even though it feels like it could be a Glazer script. Anyway, interesting list of best animated feature. We've got Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and Wish.
You just max headroom right there, good sir.
Probably. I don't
know. I've watched Wish since the last time we did a video.
Is it meh?
I don't have a lot to say.
It's meh. Yeah, there we go. It's meh.
I was telling Owen, it was like when we got to the song category, I was like I knew I had to look up which song was nominated to Critic Choice again? And then it's like, I'll just see which one that is. And there's one where she says this wish like 20 times, and it's like, oh, it must be this one.
Yes.
Because like we've been talking about weirdly a lot lately, none of the songs in it stick. It's just a movie that exists. And it feels kind of, I was saying it feels kind of Encanto light in a way.
Yeah.
But you could say it's like, it's clear they're kind of trying to put a lot of the elements into it from like the past to make it this sort of nostalgia thing. But the thing about it that rubbed me the wrong way was they did the Princess and the Frog and they went back to that animation. And with this one, it's like they're kind of, it's that kind of animation wearing a CGI animation mask, where it's like, it's almost, it feels like they're trying to get away with something rather than actually do something. And it's not a lot of it feels very genuine, but I did love Chris Pine in it, so there's that. And DeBose obviously has a great voice. Other than that, I forgot that this movie existed until we mentioned it in this list just now. and I saw it like this week. So this past week.
It annoys me because I strive every year to try to. Obviously, I see picture theatrically. That's something I work hard for. Animated usually jumps the shark because most of it's streaming, which means I finally get to see Turning Red and Soul next year, which I'm excited about. Finally.
Wasn't there another one? Turning
Luca.
Red, Soul, and what was that?
Luca.
Oh. Well, yeah, Luca's nice. It's fine.
It'll probably be one of my, like...
They're all better than Wish.
a ... three, basically.
I'll bet Soul's pretty amazing on a theater screen.
I can't wait to see it. I'm excited. It's going to bring me back to the Disney fantasy when I got to see Wreck-It Ralph on the big screen. That was amazing. Nice. Huge IMAX screen. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. Zone of Interest seems like a good double feature with the white ribbon. He's amazing. The Zone of Pinterest.
Oh God.
I'm trying to remember what the other. I'm trying to remember what the other Holocaust one was over the last few years. Oh, there was something that was really well received. It was around the same time as White Ribbon, but it wasn't that. I can't think off the top of my head. I think it was a foreign film, or at least it was, in the best foreign feature stuff. Lives of Others. That's a very good double bill, I would say. Zone of Interest.
Okay.
Something that vaguely went off in my
head. Hey, honestly, I like this comedy lineup, and I don't have any problems with any of these movies.
No, I think
it's a great lineup.
The list of American Fiction, Barbie, Bottoms, Holdovers, No Hard Feelings, and Poor Things, there's nothing there where I'm going, I don't think it deserves to be there.
I didn't really. What was that?
Blackberry.
I don't really get this acclaim for No Hard Feelings.
Fine.
It's pretty much exactly what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And it does that thing where it's trying to do the John Hughes thing where it kind of fall. What's really funny is my main criticism of it was I thought it fell too much into the getting swept up in the conflict, and the conflict becomes the movie for the last 40 minutes, which has been the problem with comedy really since Apatow kind of took over in the early 2000s. There's always been cases of comedy and drama mixing, but No Hard Feelings promised to be the movie that went back to just flat out comedy from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
But it just falls into that same trap it was supposedly killing. But I've seen people praise it for being nonstop comedy, and that's just not what it is. It's weird. It's like the movie tricked people into thinking it's something it isn't.
I can see that.
But yeah, I don't hate it either. I just, by the time it got to that point, it's like you're just waiting for the movie to get to the point you know it's going to get to. It's like watching a Hallmark movie essentially, just with full frontal nudity in it.
But there's certainly nothing in there where I'm like, why is it in this list?
I usually have that at least once when it comes to these critics awards, and I don't have a problem with. I mean, again, I really need more Blackberry. I really do.
How
Blackberry is
much?
laugh out loud hilarious if you watch it on a theater screen or on the back of someone's seat in an airplane.
So since I have not seen this yet, I have to ask. So how much of a comedy is Poor Things?
Mark Ruffalo's dialogue is absolutely hilarious. His delivery, him cursing left and right, I mean, he's definitely it's all about his comedy. That's one of the things that carries the bulk of the movie. Cuz Defoe's basically the straight man. And just the things that Bella does are funny, like the whole in the trailer, like I'm gonna go punch that baby, things like that. I mean, it plays well in the movie, but the thing is, it's like it's never like overpowering on the comedy. It's just kind of subtle, and sometimes it's absolutely laugh out loud. So it's all over the place, like a good Lanthimos movie should be. And that's the reason why it's such a crowd pleaser. Like you take away all the like excessive sex about the movie. I mean, it's got a likability that a lot of people are going to go for.
Yeah, because the favorite was quite funny.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Despite being as dark and insane as it was. And I'm curious how it compares as far as how much comedy is in it. But I get the vibe from the favorite, what the comedy's probably like in Poor Things, like what the style of the comedy is in Poor Things.
You will not be disappointed if you're trying to laugh a bit when you watch the movie. You'll feel every single emotion when you watch the movie. I think that's what it was designed to do, and it excels when it happens.
From what I can tell,
And
because
when
obviously it hasn't come out over here, basically somehow, if you manage to put some comedic scenes regarding Frankenstein,
Mm-hmm.
with regards to, coming to sort of life with, your not regular brain inside you. Because I think that's been implied enough in the trailers already that that's sort of the gist of Bella's character. Having looked
It's
at
so
what is
much more than
available,
that. That's the thing.
having looked in terms of the plot for the rest of it, it definitely isn't all comedy. So it does feel favourite in that respect as well. But yeah, I think it's more it's surrealist comedy.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's a dark comedy for sure, 100%.
There's weird stuff. There's going to be dark stuff, but it'll
Yeah,
probably
there's
be
weird
humorous.
And when we did the Spirit Awards video, I've already praised how much I loved Bottoms and how it does the
Another movie I did big time.
when people don't understand the difference between satire and parody. Bottoms is a shining example of Bottoms has so much of both. You can tell the difference, what a satire is and what a parody is, where it's like when something's really playing into, like I was saying, where satire just kind of feels like you criticize something by just kind of being that thing and being in the absurdity of that thing.
Sure.
And parody is like the Naked Gun and Airplane. And this has both of those going on at the same time, really. And that's really impressive to me. You know, a movie that's missing from here, if they wanted to go that route, that I would put here in place of No Hard Feelings, speaking of blending genres like that, is The Blackening.
Blackening is great.
The Blackening was quite brilliant how it handled being many different things at once.
That was a fun theatrical experience. It really was. Seeing that movie with a packed theater full of people that wanted to like every second, and they did. And it was great.
Yeah, because the Blackening is a comedy, a satire, a parody, and just a straight horror movie,
Oh yeah,
all at once.
and
it's
it
it's
succeeds in
insane.
all of them.
Yeah, it doesn't know whether it wants to be scary movie or Scream, or the original Halloween from 1978.
So Brian says at least with them, they didn't put past lives for foreign language film in like the Globes. Do you guys have any predictions for the short list? They'll be announced Thursday. I think we're going to be surprised because they've already knocked Oppenheimer out of visual effects. So I mean, anything's up for grabs now.
I don't really think about
Short
below. I don't think about like below the top categories until shortlists are out usually. So even though I threw out well, I was gonna say I threw out that comment about Wonka and costume design, but costume design I don't believe gets shortlists, so that remains that remains as is.
Yeah, it'll be
Brian
interesting
asked,
to see what contenders get knocked, because no doubt when we get to the shortlist, there will be some big films that possibly will miss in the 15 for foreign language as well.
can we please give me some more love for Asteroid City? Come on. I mean, it's not going to really go many places, but I'd love to see at
If
least something.
if the French Dispatch couldn't make it into production design,
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
I feel like they're done with Wes Anderson until he does something undeniable.
Yeah. AJ, since you've seen Wish, thoughts on Once Upon a Studio?
I actually didn't see it.
Oh,
With the way timing happened, I pretty much missed it.
So here's the thing about Wish. I saw it as well, and when they did the sneak preview screenings, it was attached. But when I watched the movie in the theater, it wasn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say we both missed it for
Yeah.
different reasons.
I
Does this
wanted
hold on?
to.
Does this movie exist?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember if they put it on YouTube or whatever, because they did televise it on ABC. It's probably somewhere on Disney Plus.
Guarantee you I'll be watching it during the shorts that I'm gonna watch at AMC in a couple of months when it gets the Oscar nomination. With the random bizarre stuff that I either like or hate. Just like
one of these days, Brian, we will answer this question for you.
Yes.
Once Upon a Studio.
Yes.
See, I'm looking at Wish on Wikipedia. Nowhere does it mention that Once Upon a Studio is attached to it.
It's not. It was only for the sneak previews.
There we go.
Owen, who would be more likely to win a Nobel Prize, Dr. Frankenstein from Young Frankenstein or Willem Dafoe from Poor Things? It's difficult because they're two different types of doctors. I mean, God is a very unique character that you'll find out when you watch the movie. And it's funny because it took a minute to realize that Bella was not calling him God because he's the creator, but literally that's his shoot name. That's the short form of his shoot name. So I'm like, all right, that's a thing.
That's quite on the nose.
Yeah, 100%. And I get it. I get it completely. That's a tough one. That's a toss up.
There we go.
I would like to see Past Lives make the short list for Quiet Eyes. Score's lovely too. Yeah, I agree. Love to see that.
Anything Past Lives can do, hopefully happens.
Please, because I need to see that movie in a theater before this year ends. Well, actually, before the award season ends, because before this year ends, not an option. But Rami Youssef is having quite the year with Poor Things, Wish, and he directed an episode of The Bear. He's solid in Poor Things, actually, Josie. He's very important.
I just double checked. Yeah, what the plan was to originally do it, but got shelved because of the ABC and Disney Plus broadcast.
Yep.
Although it did air in Japan in a special dubbed version this
So
past Friday.
So my almost being late didn't matter?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Well then.
We'll have to
That's like
catch
I've
up with it on
decided I'm
Disney
just not-
Plus when it gets in the nominations, more than likely, in a month.
That's why I've decided I don't care about migration. It doesn't seem like it matters. So I mean, it's not getting nominated for anything, and hopefully it doesn't. There's no way it's going to become another Ruby Gilman, so we're good on that. Best visual effects.
Yeah, so we have Creator, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Is it Part 1? Oppenheimer, is that going to be my new thing? Poor Things and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
The Creator is something else I have seen since the last time we did a video.
Oh, mini review. Incoming.
Remember what I said about Wish?
Oh, Gareth, damn it. And Chris
Here's the
Wright.
thing.
Why are you writing rubbish?
Here's the thing. I had talked about there was the whole thing of I hate it when I go into a movie already hearing opinions.
Mhm.
Because sometimes those opinions get stuck in your head, and it's like, I just need my own thoughts on this. I need to push out everything that I've heard.
Sure.
Because if I just come out saying the exact same thing everybody else is saying, it's going to sound disingenuous. So as the movie was going on, I started to hate how much everything I'd heard was right. It's very good looking.
Oh my god.
Very, very good looking. And kind of stops there. And that's exactly what I heard, and that's exactly what I felt.
It definitely is a very good contender for getting in that Oscar 5.
I think the main problem though was the emotional standpoint, because what I think the main goal of the whole movie is for your emotions for the humans and for the AI characters to blend together.
Mm-hmm.
So that you feel just as much for an AI character as you do a human character by the time you get to the end. That didn't happen. I was like, I really want to care about that little girl. I really want to care about the robots that didn't even have faces, that looked like droids. It's like, I feel like you're supposed to feel for them too, but I had nothing emotionally in there. And then it was like, oh, okay, finally the movie's pretty much over, right? Oh no, there's still a whole space climax. I thought we were done, but I guess we still have space climax. And then we have a very Armageddon goodbye, and it's the whole thing too just felt familiar. Like it felt a little Star Wars. It also felt like basically any movie that blends human characters and AI, like AI or like Finch, the Tom Hanks movie from a couple years ago. Just the whole thing just felt familiar. Like I felt like I had already seen the movie, kind of.
And not in a good way.
Yeah, and like the idea of people were saying, like you were saying, it's like if Gareth Edwards directed a Star Wars movie, and it's like, yeah we saw Rogue One, it exists.
Gareth Edwards directed a bad Star Wars.
I could say it. It kind of, I guess you could say, yeah, it kind of looks like a Star Wars movie, but the movie itself doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie.
A trailer made it 100% appear to be a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, except for like the robot soldiers and stuff like that do look like droids.
Yes.
But apart from that, it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. It just feels like another generic movie like those other ones I mentioned. So
yeah.
But it fucking looks good, man. Like if it further progresses in the visual effects category, no problems with that. But everything else, I don't really give a shit. I do think John David Washington gets a little too much hate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that he's just like a blank slate of nothingness. I don't. I mean, you do think he'd be more. You think he'd have more of a presence being, the spawn of Denzel. And their voices are identical. That's actually kind of distracting. But no, I don't dislike John Day Washington. I don't think he's like a charisma black hole or anything. But you would think he'd have a little more charisma, but that's nothing I thought was a setback to the movie. I thought the movie was the setback to the movie.
That old chestnut. Uh,
Oh, there you go, AJ. Cassie says that's why I usually wait to watch AJ's movie reviews after I've seen the movie because I want to go in completely open-minded.
Yes, I very much encourage that.
for best hair and makeup, we have Barbie, Color Purple, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Priscilla. So I guess the controversy over the nose doesn't matter with Maestro.
There was also that story Carey Mulligan told, just like the other day, where she was in like her. Well, I guess it's supposed to be old age makeup, but she's only like 56 or something by the end. But she's made up to look older, and she was pregnant at the time. And there was a doctor on set, and when she told the doctor that she was like really pregnant, the doctor thought that can't be right because of your age. He didn't realize it was Carey Mulligan. He thought it was an old lady. So wasn't there? Oh, I'm thinking of Oppenheimer. I was like, isn't there another movie with old age makeup? Yeah, it's Oppenheimer. It's a very it's like one scene of Oppenheimer, but still, it's very convincing.
And it's, from what I can tell from the plot synopsis, it's the beginning and end of Maestro as well.
I noticed Ferrari's not here, which is interesting.
I don't think
'Cause a lot of
Ferrari
people-
made it in anywhere, so...
When they released those pictures of Adam Driver, it was like he doesn't even look like Ferrari. I don't know. I kind of thought he really did look like Ferrari in those pictures, but
He looks pretty close to Enzo. Not as close as I think we managed to get with Ford v Ferrari / Le Mans 66, whatever you want to call it. That was that looked more like him, but you obviously have to, with that, if he's barely saying anything, and you just make him look like it's better. But obviously, if you're trying to tell his story, you need somebody to be able to act. So that's where because like half the time when I look at Maestro stuff, it's like that's Bradley Cooper. I'm not like immersed and like that's Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah, I just want to know if Adam Driver's going to have any lines as cold-blooded as he's not Henry Ford, he's Henry Ford II. Because the small amount of screen time Ferrari had in Ford vs. Ferrari was really fucking good.
Well, I think we'll all find out at the same time because it's releasing over here on December 26th.
Yeah, that's here too.
I think it's the 25th release, is it? Or is it 26th for you guys as well?
I will be watching it on the Friday. I will be watching it on, not this Friday, but next Friday. So I think it comes out on the 27th, and then I'm watching it on the 29th.
Mm-hmm. On to the music stuff. For best song, we have The Free from Barbie, which is the usual Dance the Night, I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For. We also add in, as with the Globes, Peaches from the Mario movie and Road to Freedom from Rustin. And then, randomly, This Wish. There's got to have been better songs.
There's just not a lot to say about this list, is there?
I mean, the fact that that it's very, very likely we're getting Ryan Gosling and Jack Black on the Oscar stage, that makes me happy. I won't lie about that.
Well, Owen, did you hear about Billie Eilish's performance of her song on SNL the other night?
I did not.
There was a surprise appearance. Because Kate McKinnon was the host, and somebody came out just for the purpose of introducing Billie Eilish with her.
Margot Robbie.
Nope.
It's Ken.
Greta?
Yes.
Oh.
That's all.
And for some reason, Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph were there. I don't know why.
That's odd.
But yeah. So when I saw that that's what Billie Eilish was performing, it was like, this is so the campaign's really in full swing right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm intrigued because I know Dua Lipa's got new music out and everything. Whether Dance the Night actually does feature on that album, because I don't know when that. I think that's coming out in January. I'm not sure.
That would make sense.
But yeah, so what you're saying, AJ, with the rules is only 2 songs from one movie can make it into the actual Oscars list in terms of the 5.
I was thinking that, and then also I think it was brought up in one of our last streams as well.
It was.
And confirmed, which means the dance song is out. It's obviously I'm Just Ken and the Eilish song that we're talking about.
For sure.
I don't know. Do the Oscars want to do a happy, with Lee Pharrell and Can't Stop the Feeling? Do you have one that people are going to have like as earworms that you think should be in there? There's a chance.
I'm Just Ken would be the.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm Just Ken would be the. There's always the one performance that brings the house down, like Everything Is Awesome or Happy or Justin Timberlake or Not To. That'd probably be I'm Just Ken this year.
I'm Just Ken is going to be something that I can imagine happening and getting a standing ovation. But honestly, I easily can see Jack Black getting a huge reaction if he came out and
with Jack
dressed
Black's
as Super
stage showmanship. It depends if he's going to be in a blooming Bowser onesie again.
He will.
Well, here's the thing. And I'm sure I'm getting redundant with this at this point, but I mean, Oscar nominee Jack Black sounds really good to me.
It does.
But having him come out on stage just to say Peaches 80 times, I don't know what that would accomplish.
You have to realize how influential the Mario Brothers movie was this year. I know it's not your style. I get that, but it was. I mean, the time I watched it, my God, that theater, I barely had any room to breathe.
I mean, it's an animated movie that made $1 billion, which, I mean, thinking off the top of my head, that's maybe Toy Story and every single Avatar film, because it's animated, damn it.
Yeah, but what did the Mario movie really do though?
Nothing overall.
Like with Barbie, at least we had the whole existential thing going on. What does Mario really look at the really high grossing movies, especially in the last decade or so. How many of them are so forgotten because they were just fucking nothing products of large companies, and that's all they were. I don't, because I feel like Mario was the bee's knees to everybody until Barbie came out. Then Mario was just the other high-grossing movie this year. But I don't know.
The thing is, when you think about it, the plot of the majority of Mario games, or at least the mainstream Mario games, ever since '85. Well, even if you count Donkey Kong with, Jumpman from back in '81, the whole plot is Princess has been kidnapped, save her. So, in essence, it stayed faithful to the material. So, they didn't try and add anything to it. It was just an adventure thing that I think caters to the market. Don't get me wrong, I think the Sonic stuff, although that's obviously twisted the story, is still enjoyable as well and has been faithful to the stuff, but I feel the Mario film just did what it had to do and just be enjoyable and sort of, is a flashback to those that used to play the video games and whatever, and obviously the kids that may still be growing with it or playing with it now. It's for them as well.
But Sonic also served a purpose because we were able to see the resurrection of 90s Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
which in itself gave those movies purpose. Even if single-handedly it gave those movies purpose. And I'm not saying I totally look down on the Mario movie or anything. I'm just saying it just is what it is. And they didn't really try to, and I'm not saying they had to do something groundbreaking with it, but it just doesn't have staying power, I guess is what I'm saying in too many words.
To chat real quick. Josie's birthday is July 28th. She's a Leo. Says a little lion emoji. Love that. Shares the same birthday with John David Washington.
Oh.
Mentioned the fact that Carrie and Marcus Mumford were childhood friends before they were married. Yeah, lucky bastard. The ending song of Suzume is beautiful. Yeah, Josie, that's the one that's going to be hanging over my head. The only thing I'm not going to see theatrically that's going to run for the Oscar, and it makes me very sad because I had a chance to see it and I didn't have the times did not line up.
My only hope is the Mario sequel, inevitably when it shows up, they just do it like the video game and have the rest of the world get a completely different version to the one in Japan.
That's
they
fair.
stay that faithful to the stuff, because
I'm significantly more interested in what they're going to do with another Ninja Turtles movie.
I absolutely hate that animation style, but the movie was good, really good.
Well, that's the thing, though, is the animation style is one of the things that actually makes it stand out.
I agree, but I don't like the way it looks.
Yeah, that was the thing about Mario, was how more or less generic. I mean, the Mario movie is very well animated, but it didn't really do anything like Spider-Verse did or the Ninja Turtles movie did or anything like that.
When you look at it, it sort of is the graphics as at least they are now with like Odyssey and all that. Just Illumination. If I'm keep doing this, Blooming Zemeckis, now it's Illumination.
Okay.
What I found striking Mario's animation was how the characters looked like they had like actual weight to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really don't want to downplay that the animation in the Mario movie is very good, but it's
Well, we've been talking about Mario for a while now.
We have. What's going on?
Well, he doesn't feature in the score. We have got another animated film in here though.
Of course we do.
I've really got to be careful with this first name for best score. Jerskin Fendrix. Eventually, I'm gonna. I'll say it now just to put the curse out there. Eventually, I'm gonna say, if that continues, I'm gonna say Jerkskin, because the letters are too close.
That's fair.
We also have Michael Giacchino for Society of the Snow, Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer, Daniel Pemberton for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Robbie Robertson for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Mark Watson and Andrew Wyatt for Barbie. I don't know how to feel about the Society of the Snow one.
That's the only one I don't know anything about, but I trust Giacchino. I always have.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's the.
Always brings a good score too. Ever film.
It said J.A. Bayona, so I was thinking, wait, what? Where was that? And then I realised it's the Spanish language entry. Instead.
I'm more excited about Robbie Robertson getting nominated for Killers.
True. For production design, we have Saltburn, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, Poor Things, and Asteroid City. Why are these? Oh, I see. They're in alphabetical order because of the first name of the person that's listed.
This is a fantastic list.
I was going to say, production design and costume design, it's going to be really interesting to watch the bloodbath between Barbie and Poor Things. Because, I mean, everything else is just happy to be here, right?
I'm just happy more visibility for Asteroid City. Not going to get much.
I mean, Saltburn might have a chance in production design. Because, of course, whether production design also includes sort of locations and getting the right sort of location to fit the stuff. which is why Oppenheimer might be in with a shout. Trying to get
Could be
all
an
that
interesting
sorted.
battle.
Yeah, because there is a lot to Saltburn because there's the entirety of the house plus stuff like the hedge maze and stuff like that.
The hedge maze, especially.
Yeah,
Especially the way it's shot at the end.
yeah.
And then for costume design, I'll run through their names here. Not to diss the production design, but there's multiple names. Whereas costume design, it's predominantly one person. So we got Jacqueline Duran for Barbie, Linda Hemming for Wonka, Francine Jameson Tanchuk for The Colour Purple, Holly Waddington for Poor Things, Jacqueline West for Killers of the Flower Moon, and then David Crossman and Janty Yates for Napoleon.
Didn't I told you this, didn't I, Owen? We were talking about how you had just seen Napoleon. You were talking about how much you hated it,
Yes.
and you said something on the lines of like it not having awards prospect or something because it's not great. And the only thing I said to you was costume design.
I find
It's like
fascinating that Janty Yates has only done Ridley Scott films since American Gangster. Janty has done nothing else since.
Well, he has been working pretty constantly for quite some time. So at least they're not out of work.
Well, no, it's like before that you have Miami Vice and then Kingdom of... You know, they collaborated with Ridley Scott before, you know. It got, you know, Janty won the Oscar for Gladiator back in 2000. So, you know, there is a connection there, but it's amazing to think that she's only worked with Ridley Scott stuff, you know, for the past, 15, 16 years. She hasn't dabbled into anything else or, you know, anything like that.
The guilds are going to be really fun this year. I have a feeling. I think they're going to be all over the board too.
Especially because, of course, you know, looking at the list, you know, Barbie's the only one I would say is contemporary. I mean, it depends how they consider period and contemporary in their listings.
Mm-hmm.
Barbie's the only one that's out and out contemporary. You've obviously got all the other ones that are period or historical to some extent. So it depends.
Poor Things takes place in an alternate universe, basically. So
yeah.
Costumes don't really reflect anything that we have seen before. So
then to best editing.
Finally.
William Goldenberg for Air, Nick Howie for Barbie, Jennifer Lane for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Mavros Posadis, another Yorgos.
Shot.
Too many Yorgoses. For Poor Things, Thelma Schoonmaker, of course, for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Michelle Tesoro for Maestro. I think I'm looking at the list. Then that must be one of the first times that we've had 3 female editing nominations, or first time in a while at least, which is good to see.
Speaking of 2 of them, out of the woodwork to say, why are Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower so long? I can't believe how many fucking times I've heard that stupid shit ever since Titanic. I think people have been not understanding that that's not exactly where the skill of editing comes in completely. Yeah, if anybody's gonna criticize Schoonmaker and try to talk like she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing at this point, I don't think that person should be allowed oxygen. I wasn't sure how I was gonna word that, but it was something extreme.
I mean, they probably complained that the second movie that she ever edited was Woodstock because that was like 6 hours.
I kind of love that Air is here. This is the only time Air is going to be in editing, but I will take it while it's here.
belongs here, whether it goes anywhere or not.
That scene especially, it's the scene I've praised the most. I've actually started to hear criticisms that it's too on the nose, but I love the scene where Damon takes Michael Jordan through his future
Oh my god, it's so
and
good.
like predicts his future. That's like my favorite scene in the movie. And I can get it if people see it on the nose, I guess, but it's still my favorite scene in the movie. I don't care.
And then cinematography. We have Matthew Libatique for Maestro. Rodrigo Piet. This when I first read this, I was like, "This is amazing." Rodrigo Pietro, both for Barbie and Killers of the Flower Moon. The most colourless film and the most colourful film from the same cinematographer. We've also got Robbie Ryan for Poor Things, Linus Sangren for Saltburn, and Hoyt von Hoytema for Oppenheimer.
This is just a really nice lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything. I don't have anything to add. Really.
Real quick before we go into screenplays, Brian says, just summarize. AJ, think the Super Mario Brothers is way too overappreciated.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Man, ever since he won for Up, Giacchino has been trying to get his third Oscar nomination. Remember, the Batman missed the shortlist. That was ridiculous. Yes, it was. So he says, I wonder if Zone of Interest could squeeze into production design if it overperforms.
Yeah, they do. They really. We tend to underestimate how much they love their World War II era movies.
Yeah.
Once again, they love war movies so much. War movies what brought Mel Gibson back to getting a Best Director nomination. So they really, really love their war or wartime movies.
Given the editor's branch sometimes likes to nominate comedies, I wonder if we could see a scenario where a majority of the editing noms are comedies. American Fiction, Barbie, The Holdovers, and Poor Things.
That's believable.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Oh, and we are here now. The important stuff.
Well, some of the stuff, then we dabble away, and then we come back.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, good point.
Although there's some stuff in here that I think could carry. Hang on. So I moved my mic because somebody will complain. So I moved it like a little bit, just to make him complain a slight bit less, but whatever. So for adapted, no doubt I'm waiting for Woo to just suddenly appear in chat from Josie. We have Kelly Frum Craig for Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret. Andrew Hay for All of Us Strangers. Cord Jefferson for American Fiction. Tony McNamara for Poor Things. Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. And Eric Roth and Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon.
I would say I've seen Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret since the last time we did a video, but that's actually not true. I had seen it when we did our last video. It just never had a reason to come up. So
mini review time.
Yeah, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing about it is I was hoping to read the book before I saw it because I actually never did. I was telling Owen like The Diary of Lee Boss was kind of my Beverly Cleary book when I was growing up, so I never actually got around to this one, even though I had always heard about it. And I was like, I can just imagine, like when the kid she has a crush on is first introduced, my first thought was, oh man, if I had read the book, I'd totally be saying, oh my god, it's that guy.
Yeah.
So I could get the sense of that even having not been there. I can feel like I knew what those points were. But yeah, and the conflicts that it brought up, particularly with Rachel McAdams and her parents, were kind of shockingly heavy and real, like really real, in a way I wasn't quite expecting. And which makes me understand why McAdams was like one of the winners of LA and has kind of somewhat come in and out of the conversation a tiny bit. To the point that I do wish she was in that conversation more than she is. Than just a mention here or there like it has been. But yeah, there was a lot. I guess there was a lot more. I mean, I probably shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised by how much reality kind of is in it. So
Judy Blume was kind of something I kind of glossed over growing up, and one of my go-tos was not "Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret." It was Super Fudge. That's the first Judy Blume novel that I ever read. And I was the same way as you were talking about before. Like, oh, it's that guy. That was the way when I watched Ramona and Beezus, because Ramona was what I grew up with when it came to Beverly Cleary. So it was like, I've talked about that several times on here before.
And also her anybody that's had a grandma, her relationship with Kathy Bates is really nice, especially.
I agree. And we still don't know what's going on with Barbie, so it's like that's why adapted is kind of up in the air right now, and so is original at this point.
I am interested if Barbie if Barbie gets away with its bullshit.
Mm-hmm. What bumps
there's an
out?
open spot in There's an open spot in adapted, and All of Us Strangers is really hanging out here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those cases where if there's an open slot in adapted, if Barbie gets away with its bullshit, people are gonna really want it to be "Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret?" And it probably almost will be, but then it would ultimately end up being All of Us Strangers, because All of Us Strangers is doing really good at the visibility thing.
Every time I see a trailer for it, I get more and more wanting to see it, and I've not had it on my radar for a long time when it comes to predictions, but it's something that I definitely am interested in seeing.
Even if he's going to struggle to get into the actor race, Andrew Scott has kind of been out almost single-handedly keeping All of Us Strangers visible. He's doing he's done the interviews. He did the Los Angeles Times roundtable with the other actors, which was great, by the way. The first actor roundtable was Giamatti, Jeffrey Wright, Cillian Murphy, Coleman Domingo, Ruffalo, and Andrew Scott. And that was a really good discussion on a lot of things. And they were really doing a good job of keeping their movies alive and their stuff out there. So like I said, All of Us Strangers, I feel like, is probably going to do something. And this is, like I said, Critics' Choice doesn't mean anything except for saying, hey, we're here. You can see us.
Yeah.
And like I said, All of Us Strangers is doing that really well. So I'll be curious to see what happens to it as we go on. But if Barbie is in the category it should be in, then I feel like adapted is pretty sold already, more or less.
At this point.
Mm-hmm.
But then we got original.
Just as interesting. Sammy Birch for May December. Alex Convery for Air. Bradley Cooper and Joss Singer for Maestro. Gerwig and Baumbach for Barbie. David Hemmingson for The Holdovers. And Celine Song for Past Lives.
I mean, it still bothers me a tad whenever I see Air mentioned, because Affleck and Damon really changed that script quite a bit. Oh, yeah. I'm not even sure how much is this guy's work anymore, but yeah.
That's why I hope he wins. That's why I hope he wins, and he's like 80% of what I did isn't even on the screen. Thanks, everybody.
I would love. I mean, they were very supportive of him, so this wouldn't actually happen.
No.
But just with the context, I'd want a cut of Damon and Affleck doing the Steve McQueen clap when John Ridley won his Oscar. That would be fantastic. But like I said, they were very supportive of him, so that wouldn't happen. So obviously, we've known for quite some time that Affleck and Damon are very supportive of creatives in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. Project Greenlight.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I've mentioned before, I love how much Past Lives has stayed alive, because I was getting a little bit worried. Remember, I was never going to abandon it, but I was getting just a tiniest bit worried about it. But I love that it's not seemingly in hiding. So The question now is just how well is Maestro gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's clearly, I am so tired of Best Director right now as far as predictions go.
Yes.
I'm really starting to hate that category because, well, when we get to it, we can talk about Bradley Cooper not making sure he's not going to repeat this Star is Born Best Director snub that happened.
We go to ensemble next, though.
Well, yeah, we'll do that first. I was gonna possibly do young actor and actress
That's fine. Go with it.
because I don't know how this will carry over. I mean, there's a chance with one at least. For young actor actress, we have Abby Ryber Thorsten for Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Ariana Greenblatt for Barbie. Calla Lane for Wonka. Milo Mercado Grainer for Anatomy of a Fall. At least he gets some recognition, AJ.
Totally deserves
Dominic
it,
Sessa
though.
for The Holdovers and Madeline Univoyles for The Creator.
Yeah, there's some nice performances in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to sell short the girl that plays Margaret, but there's only 2 performances to talk about here.
Yep.
And the interesting thing about Sessa that I didn't know that Giamatti's been talking about, because Giamatti did that roundtable, and Giamatti also got his SAG retrospective recently, and he talked at great length about Dominic Sessa. Specifically that apparently he was a hockey player, and then he got injured and couldn't play anymore, so he was just like, I'll do a play and see what happens.
Nice.
So he basically barely acted in his entire life when he got this part. And apparently Payne saw like 800 people. So he left a magnificent impression during he did a Skype reading with Giamatti that Payne wasn't even there for. And after that, Giamatti went to Payne and said, it's gotta be him. It cannot be anybody else because there's not going to be anybody that matches this chemistry.
No.
So that in itself, let alone his age, that in itself, the total and complete, practically inexperience going into this performance is wild. But like I was telling you, Owen, when I saw this, you could say all the good things in the world about Dominic Sessa.
Yeah.
And I have no problems with him at all or his performance.
Nope.
But when you've got the kid from Anatomy of a Fall in this category, my first thought was, well, it's a shame Sessa's going to win this. It's like, damn, that sucks. Because that kid in Anatomy of a Fall should be in the big conversation, not just this category.
Yep. I agree with that.
This is going to be the best we get, sadly.
Until we get personal picks at the end of the year, probably.
Most definitely, yeah.
And then for ensemble, that's probably why Owen wanted to bring it up, because Air's in here as well.
Yeah, it is.
Along with Barbie, Color Purple, Holdovers, Kills the Flower Moon, and Oppenheimer.
Hey, I can't say anything at this point because if Barbie wins or Killers of the Flower Moon wins, technically speaking, 2 of my friends are in those ensembles. Legitimately. So yeah. Especially Barbie.
I'm trying to think. I'm a little surprised May December missed here.
Same.
And we can have a conversation about the Iron Claw, I suppose.
We need to.
Because I have been building up that Iron Claw could be a really big contender, despite the fact that it's coming in late.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the idea of if it gets like a SAG Ensemble nomination and does well with the Guilds, because the thing we talked about with the Critics' Choice Awards is I don't know when like embargoes were or anything like that, but the Iron Claw's reviews came out like one day before or one day after these nominations came out. Which makes me wonder if they had even seen the Iron Claw, because we have that problem before with SAG, where some movies have missed SAG nominations, like when you look at like a winner like Waltz and Django, where Waltz wasn't even nominated at SAG because they just didn't see it in time. It came out too late. And now you and I were saying, now that the SAG nominations have been pushed, and the guilds are going to have much more time to have seen the Iron Claw than these other groups that have already come out, is that going to do anything? Because there's always that one. And I'm not just trying to rationalize it to make predictions more accurate. I'm saying there's always that movie that comes in late. Like the two big examples, I know it happens frequently, but the two examples that always come to mind are American Sniper in 2014. American Sniper was basically nowhere to be found, and then it like racked up in the guilds and then did really well on nominations morning.
Sure.
And the same thing happened to Judas and the Black Messiah. Judas and the Black Messiah was pretty much only doing Kaluuya for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time it got nominated for Best Picture, we weren't surprised.
No.
Even because it was a really suddenly very late, oh, it's also in screenplay. It won fucking song and got that picture nomination, and that made sense at the time. Not to mention Stanfield. All of that was so late. And there's not really a movie we can see yet, like I said, other than the Iron Claw, as far as what I'm looking at, that could be that late surge movie.
I want this to add.
Yeah. So I'm just bringing that up because we talked specifically about it being, you know, like its first big thing would be a SAG Ensemble nomination, where people would say, "Oh, that's surprising. I wonder if it's going to do anything," and then more guilds may or may not happen. I don't know. This is just all hypothetical, by the way. Yeah. I'm not saying there's going to be some fucking jackass that thinks I'm saying this will happen. This is my prediction. I'm saying this is what happens with these late surge movies that don't show up at Hero or Globes and then do really well. And The Iron Claw is the only movie I could think of that could be that movie off the top of my head, believably.
I'd really like that. I mean, I know anybody that has seen it, I can probably attest to it, or the ones that haven't seen it, I can basically tell you this. If you know the source material, you'll dig it. You'll dig it more because you'll dig it on a different level. If you don't know the source material, then you'll judge it as a movie, and I think you'll dig it in that aspect as well. The performances are fantastic. I've never seen Efron better in his life, honestly. This is the performance of his career, and he deserves every accolade he gets for this award.
Yeah, I feel like since pretty early on, and some people have been with me, have really been building up Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
I feel like just his momentum in general and how much everybody in the industry loves the Bear. The Bear is basically the maestro of TV right now. Everybody in the industry talks about how great it is. But all the praise I've been hearing is for Efron.
Efron's amazing. Amazing. Harris Dickinson's amazing. Holt McElhaney's amazing. I mean, it's a fantastic movie. That will come out in theaters this week. So for those of you that haven't seen it, you're sure to get your opportunity this weekend.
So yeah, I'm still not I'm still not convinced anything's dead or anything like that or anything is certain, because once again, it's still only Globes and Critics' Choice, which, despite common belief, don't mean shit and have no Academy voters involved in them.
Mm-hmm.
And we always see those changes happen when the guilds start to come in, so that'll be interesting. We'll see just how much Maestro wants to take over when we get to guilds too. So Spike Lee told Bradley Cooper he has seen Maestro 3 times. That's crazy. Gary Oldman randomly mentioned it in an interview recently, and it wasn't even being talked about. He just like segued himself into. I was talking to Bradley Cooper. He was talking about how he sends letters to people he admires, and he sent Bradley Cooper a letter after he saw Maestro. And when he said Maestro, and he sounded like he was about to give a review, he just like whistled. That's all he could say because he loved it that much. So, yeah, we'll see how much of Bradley Cooper kind of becomes the golden boy of the industry by the end of this year and into next year.
Well, now we've got the last 6.
For supporting actress, we have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Naiad, Julianne Moore for May December, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
What the fuck is up with Naiad?
Out of contention, please. I'm tired of it.
I was kind of hoping, like I was talking about, like, oh, I can talk about Wonka now, I can talk about Wish now, I can talk about the creator now. It was like, I guess I should watch Naiad so I can maybe talk about Jodie Foster. I just have such little fucking interest. I couldn't do it, but I will. I'm just, I don't know. I'm probably being unfair to that movie just by how little interest I have in it from the get-go, but I'll be curious to see at least how Foster and Benning are, because that seems to be the only attention that it's getting. So, but now that Foster has more attention than Benning is quite interesting.
And supporting actress is pretty much, I can't say set in stone because nothing is, but it seems like everything's pretty solidified right now.
We've had those times where 2018 it happened with two people when Ethan Hawke and Toni Collette murdered the Critics Awards.
Yep.
Ethan Hawke and Toni Collette put flags in the Critics Awards in 2018, and neither one happened. People
Correct.
still and you cannot have one single conversation about Hereditary without people going, where the fuck was Toni Collette's Oscar nomination? And First Reform, they at least gave Schrader that screenplay nomination. We've seen people completely murder the Critics Awards and then get sidestepped when the televised ones start coming in.
Certainly.
It happens. I was going to say, it has to be nearly every year. Who was Cody Smith McPhee and Troy Kotzer is a very recent example.
Oh, yeah.
Cody Smith McPhee basically had the Oscar in his hand if you looked at only Critics Awards. And then Coda, that was a very last... Once again, it was kind of like Judas and the Black Messiah getting nominated in a picture, like I was just saying. At the time, it would have been unthinkable. By the time Coda won picture, it was like, yeah, that's where we were headed.
Yep.
Because The Power of the Dog, in general, owned 2021 until Coda took over at the very last minute. So, people like to change that in retrospect. Anytime a movie wins Best Picture, it's like, oh yeah, that was always going to win. No, that was not Coda's. That is not Coda's story at all. Power of the Dog, which only one director by the end of it all, had that really thick set of nominations, wasn't it like 12 or something? Power of the Dog was ready to completely destroy 2021, and it walked away with a 1.
I watched that in Netflix theater too.
And it felt like they only gave Campion the win because it was predetermined.
So
it was like, oh shit, we can't complete. We so built up this Power of the Dog thing, we can't completely kill it. Go ahead, Campion, take this. And it still rubs me the wrong way, the way she kind of shaded Costner for his really good speech. Everybody was mad at Costner for saying that because it was towards the end of the show and it was really long, but he was saying something really good. I really liked what he was saying, and that was classless to insult him, essentially. But, whatever.
Now the bloodbath, it is Best Supporting Actor.
Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Charles Melton for May December, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things.
It's a very interesting time for Sterling K. Brown to say hello. It makes me very curious because this is one of those cases where it's like, we talk about Critics' Choice and the Globes are only good for visibility. They're not saying yes or no about anything. This is one of those cases where I actually started to think if this could start a chain reaction for Sterling K. Brown. Because there is a spot open in this category.
There is.
I'm still hung up on my Gosling will get snubbed thing, which I'm sure I'll regret, but because me and Owen have been talking about something. I don't know if I can't remember if we've mentioned it live or not yet.
There is no way this has been mentioned live.
There's somebody we can imagine a snub here. We're discussing, let's not be secretive. De Niro seems almost too comfortable here, where it's like Downey, obviously, Melton, obviously, Ruffalo's feeling pretty off. I feel like that whole thing of Ruffalo potentially being threatened by a Defoe switch, I think we're getting farther away from that being a possibility.
Having seen the film, Owen, and given what I've read, would Rami be strong enough to also get in here if anybody was to feel it?
You know, he's solid, and I always say this every year, and it sounds like a cop out, and it may be one, but I don't care. I've seen the movie. I will say right now, in another year, yeah, for sure. I could literally see it like going on. I mean, honestly, there's only one other person that could get nominated too, and she's barely getting any praise at all for her 3 scenes in the movie. So I'm just happy she's there. Drive-Away Dolls next year. Get ready for it. And Sanctuary, watch it. It's the best
Pyro
2 people show you've never seen. Trust me. I'm gonna put that movie over forever. Yeah, AJ brought it up. This opened it like a band-aid. Yeah, I've been seriously thinking that there's a possibility that King Hale's gonna get axed. And I don't know if I like that idea. Actually, I don't like that idea.
It was weird how we ended up on the same wavelength, because we were talking about it. We hadn't discussed it.
Nope.
And I honestly hadn't even thought about this. And then you said, I'm actually thinking there might be a snub here, like a big snub here. And just for some reason, as soon as you said that, my immediate thought was De Niro.
Yeah.
And then it got stuck in my head and has not left.
Because I don't see the double. I don't see Defoe and Ruffalo both getting nominated. After seeing the movie, Ruffalo is definitely stronger, and I feel that he belongs in here. Defoe getting in here wouldn't be a problem. I wouldn't have an issue with it, weirdly enough. But the thing is, him taking a spot from someone else, that would be my problem. I know you're very adamant about the Gosling snub. I think more and more every single day, I feel like we're getting further and further away from that. So if we have to
say, adamant's a strong word. It's mostly my stupid pride thing right now.
And there. You remember those seasons, everyone. The thing is, right now, I have to kowtow to Charles Melton, and that's my problem. I don't have him in my list. I've never had him in my list. And spoiler alert, when we do our New Year's video, I'm going to have to put him somewhere. And in order to do that, I got to bump someone out, which means Downey, there's no way. Gosling, there's no way. Ruffalo, there's no way. Then you've got the outlier, which is Jeremy Allen White, which is kind of my white whale here, pun not intended.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to stick to it. I want to stick to the Iron Claw as long as I can, because it belongs here. I mean, Efron belongs in the actor talk. He's not there, but he deserves to be in it. But the thing is, the only person that comes to mind that I feel that might be somewhat expendable, weirdly enough, is from another one of my favorite performances of the year. And that's crazy for me to think that. And if I like May December, I'll be fine with it. If I don't like May December, I'm going to hate it. Because I always have these things I have to do every single year that I don't want to do because of trying to win the prediction game, which I don't have good luck at that. But this year I feel like I may have a different direction to go. And you always throw that Hail Mary out at the last minute. And I feel like the Jeremy Allen White thing is something that we called that a lot of people would not expect when it happens, if it does. But De Niro missing of all things, especially with Killers being strong, with Gladstone being pretty much contending for the win at this point right now, I feel like it's something that most people would not expect.
But at the same time, it'd be a case of De Niro inexplicably getting snubbed for a 3.5 hour Scorsese movie that gets otherwise a shitload of nominations wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, good point. But I guess it remains to be seen what's going to happen with supporting actor. Yeah, Sterling K. Brown, welcome to the party.
Yeah, like I said, Critics' Choice is not saying anything definitively, but I mean, American Fiction could very easily overperform.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Somebody, I think was it Brian that was just talking about that recently with it getting, or Josie maybe, talking about it'd be that movie that gets into editing if they really, really love it.
I know it was said in chat, but I can't remember off the top of my head who said it.
That'll be especially interesting if they do. I really want to see how the movie does the novel within a novel thing.
The trailer gets me hyped for it. You've read the book, so.
And I've seen the cast list, and I know that people, the guy from Hamilton that plays Hercules Mulligan and Keith David, the characters they're listed for playing are the characters that are in the novel within the novel. So they're doing it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And again,
Brian,
we actually know the real reason why Sterling K. Brown is in here. His character name is Cliff. The power of the cliffs in supporting actor.
Here's a statement I couldn't have made 10 years ago. Anyway, if you know, you know. And remember, 4 of the DGA nominees will be in it and 1 will not, says Brian. Josie says, given that SAG tends to have trouble nominating late screeners, I wonder if Color Purple could miss SAG Ensemble, and in that case, what could take its place? I hope it's an Iron Claw, Josie.
Well, I'm kind of sticking to this thing of I'm assuming it will only, we may not have that problem if SAG is coming out late.
That's true.
Do we know when their voting closes?
I have the list, but I don't have it actual because it's literally right behind you guys right now on the computer screen. If I took off this chat, as Ashley looks at Wikipedia per usual, note that Critics' Choice Ensemble is weird and does not necessarily reflect SAG's ensemble nods. I wonder if, as far as an ensemble nod, if Poor Things is Power of the Dog or Banshees. Ooh.
I only just noticed Poor Things is missing an ensemble.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely, yeah. That definitely, I don't want to say anything actually because it's.
So voting for nominations open today for SAG.
Okay. Ooh, the Iron Claw's got a shot then.
With voting closing on January the 7th, and nominations coming out 3 days later. Holy crap! They actually bothered to count. That's a quick turnaround from nominations closing to we're announcing them. Normally it's like a week, not 3 days.
They close on the day of the Globes then.
And at 5 p.m. Pacific, that's roughly about the same time as the ceremony will be happening. So. Yeah.
Wonder if the Globes will add ensemble as a category next. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, honestly, Josie.
It's especially surprising they did that fucking cinematic achievement thing before they did something like ensemble.
Taylor Swift's gonna get a Globe. Let's go.
I noticed that Josie went for a shower, so she never got the chance to put woo in chat when we talked about Are You There, God? And It's Me, Margaret, making it in where it did. Right. In multiple categories.
Also alludes to the fact, don't think that Globes will create a stunts category unless the Oscars do. I will say the stunt community are not very happy with this new SAG-AFTRA situation because it doesn't really benefit them very much. I know this because I have friends that are stuntmen. One of which who was in Killers of the Flower Moon.
There's certainly a lot of momentum is still gaining though for the stunt category, which is good to see.
Yeah.
So
speaking of momentum, best actress.
To lead actress, we have Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, Greta Lee for Past Lives, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Dear Lord, what a list! I also noticed as well, at least according to Wikipedia, Carey Mulligan gets higher billing than Cooper.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
So is Portman the only one missing from this?
I
As
think
far as
so.
contenders go?
For people that are, well, it depends on how much hope you have in the color purple.
Yeah, like that person that left that comment a few videos ago that you mentioned.
Let me quickly check. I was trying to see what the comparison. Oh, I guess there isn't a comparison because Globe split them up. So
I mean, I basically said this earlier, but I'm happy to say it again. The visibility for Past Lives and Greta Lee making all these makes me very happy, and I hope we stick to that.
Someone's got to miss though in order for that to be the case, because for
Well,
all intents and purposes, this 6 has your Oscar lineup. I have to believe that.
but just last year we had the Viola Davis Danielle Deadweiler thing.
Oh,
So-
don't get me started with that.
When we say, "Oh, it looks like all
this year for Air,"
it looks like all the contenders are here," I don't know. Is there? Well, yeah, we talked about that was another reason I was kind of going in on the Jeremy Allen White thing. Is there's always the precursorless actor.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Andrea Riceborough. There's the Lakeith Stanfield. There's the Marina de Tavira. I feel like every year there's one, right?
Anna de Armas. Well, we had 2 last year because Anna de Armas got in solely really for Blonde and nothing else.
Yeah, that's true.
She had a Globe nomination. However much.
True. Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you meant like something that only gets its one Oscar nomination through that, acting thing.
I don't know.
Technically, because Riceborough did have a Spirit Award nomination, but I don't even think that counts. You might as well say that. You might as well say that's precursorless.
Well, if they go with Portman, then she's got to bump someone out. It seems like Gladstone is a lock for sure. Emma Stone is a lock for sure. And then it gets kind of murky because
I don't want to.
I would say she's a lock at this point.
I was gonna say I don't want to jinx anything, but Hewler does seem comfortable right now.
I agree.
But I'm very afraid of jinxing that by saying that.
Well, you've got Robbie, which I mean, it's again visibility for one of the most popular movies of the year that's already going to do well and getting nominated for things. Carrie, which is going to be in the Oscar darling, which is going to end up being Maestro, which of course I'm super biased there. And then you've got something like Greta Lee's performance in Past Lives. So what do you do?
I've
never worse if Portman gets in here too.
I've never, I don't think once this year had Robbie.
No,
I've never had Robbie in my predictions, so
no.
See how that goes. And what's interesting about that is I feel very alone on my no Gosling island.
Yes.
But it seems like a lot of people are on the page with me of actress is too crowded for Robbie.
It depends.
Once again,
Barbie.
People are gonna use the headline "Barbie dominates Critics' Choice with 18 whatever nominations" as Barbie's gonna get everything. People are gonna start throwing America Ferrera in their predictions now.
I did it first.
I don't know. This doesn't feel indicative of anything to me.
No.
Maybe I'm totally wrong on that. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just there's weird feelings I can't get rid of that I can't explain either.
Oh God, I got one. Oscar should have a voice or motion capture acting performance category. Can't stress this enough. I would award Pattinson with the award this year for his Heron voice. I actually saw it without the dub. I actually watched the Japanese version of it. I didn't get the Americanized dub that a lot of other people that watch the Miyazaki films got. I actually watched the regular one. That's what worked in my time frame.
I'm kind of one of those people. I mean, I want everybody that does the work to get praise, but I'm also one of those people. I don't know if you'd call it a purist or whatever it is, but I would fear the award starting to lose its prestige if we had too many categories.
That's fair.
Yeah.
when the parrot showed up in Boy and the Heron, I immediately thought of Margaritaville, wasting away again in Miyazaki-ville. Yeah, I still have those creepy birds in my mind to this day, Josie. Thanks. There was a really cute picture Rami Youssef posted on Instagram with him and Emma Stone from The Poor Things, where they were sitting together, Emma leaning her head against his shoulders. Someone on Twitter posted an image and said, "I want this framed and hung in my room." I'm wondering, with the rise of Fallen Leaves, if Aki Kaurismäki could be a surprise and best director. He has a lot of films in the Criterion collection.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very, very packed, but there's always room for that one that no one's expecting. JohnDurkin.com, let's go!
And then for actor, another good
The-
list.
The typical list.
Cooper for Maestro, DiCaprio for Killers of the Flower Moon, Common Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for Holdovers, Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
You talked about decap missing, and every day that rings in the back of my head that this whole love for Coleman Domingo, especially what you told me about Rustin and the performance itself.
He's another one in the Andrew Scott camp where he's doing very good at staying visible throughout the season.
I agree.
Obviously, Andrew Scott not necessarily. Well, Andrew Scott's done okay nomination-wise up to this point, just apart from here. But like I said, just kind of keeping the movie alive. But obviously, All of Us Strangers has. Well, no, I take that back. I was gonna say All of Us Strangers has a better chance of getting more than one nomination, but I keep Rustin's song, obviously. But as far as like big A categories, All of Us Strangers has Scott and Adapted, whereas Rustin would only have Domingo if you don't count song.
I mean, it's Lenny Kravitz. I have a feeling it's probably going to happen unless we get our prerequisite Diane Warren 5th nomination. Come on, Eve for Brady. Let's go.
But like I was saying, also, Domingo is a transformative performance, which they love.
I know, and it worries me because he's the one I don't have on here. Like, that's my 5 plus Domingo as of this moment.
Yeah, it's like you take out DiCaprio, and I'm really good there. And I don't have an example of something that would happen specifically, but I keep telling you, Owen, something crazy could happen in an actor.
It could.
Like, I could easily see, like, honestly, I could easily see Andrew Scott kind of coming from out of nowhere. I could see Andrew Scott getting in at SAG, and that being the only thing he needs. Or reverse that and say BAFTA, but...
I really... Well,
but
actually...
But I also can imagine something even crazier than Andrew Scott happening, because Andrew Scott wouldn't be that crazy. I don't know. I have this idea that just like something crazy will happen in that 5th slot in actor.
Troy Bolton.
I don't know. I have no specific examples of that, but
Be amazing. I don't think it's going to happen. It deserves to happen. I wish it would happen, but it's not going to happen because it's so packed. But yeah, there's always a really like wild card that we're not expecting, or we were expecting, or someone else was expecting. Someone has bragging rights that other people don't have. Even if you don't predict it and you say it, it's still out there in the cosmos.
I'm not betting on him or saying him or anything. I repeat, because people don't fucking listen. I'm not saying him. I'm not betting on him. I'm not saying him. Barry Keoghan?
Oh, God, I had him at the beginning. I really wish I could have him in here now.
They love their Afterglow nominations. They love nominating somebody for the first time and then continuing to do so.
He's so great in Saltburn, too. And I said that before I even saw the movie.
Yeah, I don't have any bets on Saltburn anymore.
No, unfortunately.
But next time we do a prediction video, we'll talk about how I don't know what the fuck's going on in an original screenplay. But there's that one slot, and I thought I had it figured out, and then Bradley Cooper was on everybody's shoulders, and everything's all in disarray now.
Oh, interesting. Fun fact, 2 people playing Batman who played Batman, are in Boy and the Heron. Pattinson and Bale. Interesting. 3 Batman actors did voice work in Miyazaki films. Pattinson was the Heron, Bale was the Dad Boy, and the Heron, and he was in Howl's Moving Castle. Michael Keaton was Porco Rosso.
Mm-hmm.
We need Affleck to do a voice in a Studio Goblin film. Damon did a voice in Ponyo. Yeah, I vaguely remember Ponyo.
Studio Goblin, you say?
That's what it says. Studio Ghibli, but it says Studio Goblin. I'm reading what it said.
Studio Goblin sounds trippy. I bet they do some trippy shit.
I'd like to watch that. That's the new movie. That's our new movie company.com. If
they sound like a sister company to Shudder or something.
Good Lord. If Tai Yu gets in at SAG, that could really help Past Lives as a stronger contender. I mean, yeah.
That would be fantastic. That'd be very fantastic, yes.
And Megaro is hanging out on the outskirts, too. Don't forget about him as well.
He doesn't seem to be in this, unfortunately, but...
Neither is Efron, but we can hope.
What's like you said, we have our personal...
Yeah.
We pick nominees at some soon, so John Megara will be here somewhere.
And Margaret Qualley will finally get her just due. Director. Let's not talk about that.
we have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Alexander Payne for The Holdovers, and Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon.
My Oscar lineup with Cooper, which seems more and more likely every day.
I don't want to go too much into this because it'll all be mentioned when we do the next Oscar prediction video, but this category is taking years off my life.
Yeah, that's fair.
I always feel like I haven't figured out, and then it's like, well, shit, this person would have to go. This person has to come. The thing that's not a secret is Maestro fucked this all up.
Yeah,
because Maestro's gonna do so well. Maestro's gonna get so many fucking nominations. Oh God.
And it looks like the way that you look at the lineup we have here. I mean, you're not going in on Greta, but I get that. But I mean,
there's 2 other female directors I would choose before Greta, both personally and as a prediction. Because, like we said, you could. Damn it! I'm gonna go into the thing I said I wasn't gonna go into. I can't help it, I guess. I was really stuck on Justine Triet.
Yeah.
But I also really love that Celine Song has not really been backing down. She's not here or anything, but Celine Song has not gone away or anything either.
No.
And I got so sold, I was like, Justine Triet is the international spot. There's always the international spot in director. She's getting it. And international doesn't mean foreign language, because last year we could talk about Ruben Östlund. International means a bunch of things. Technically, Nolan's international because he's British. But the point is, there's that one slot, and you know what slot I'm talking about, regardless of what word you use. And last year it was Ruben Östlund. And the problem with that is I would have bet anything last year that slot was Edward Berger's for All Quiet on the Western Front.
Correct.
And it was that slot that Ruben Östlund ended up getting.
Sure.
And so my question was, I'm so sold on Justine Triet being that spot. And then I had an epiphany, which was, I've been saying this whole time Justine Triet is going to be the Ruben Östlund spot, the Paul Bukowski spot, whatever you want to call it, the Hamaguchi spot. She could also be Edward Berger.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie Fall does really, really well. Natalie Fall gets a picture nomination. And she doesn't make it, even though everything points to that she would. So, and the Natalie Fall would be that movie. But the Ruben Östlund Edward Berger thing is fucking with me really bad. So we'll see what happens, I guess. What I end up ultimately saying when the time comes.
The problem I'm having is if I have to do this, and have to move Bradley Cooper in. I have to move someone out. And to me, there's only one person I can bump out. And I don't want to because I feel that something like a DGA could get him back in this race like it has in the past. And that's Alexander Payne.
Yeah.
He's on the bubble right now, and he doesn't need to be.
Yeah, because like I said, I took Payne out once already, and I didn't like that at all. I had to put him back because it just felt off because they love Payne so much.
Yeah,
and I imagine they'll love the holdovers so much, or they do love the holdovers so much. But I think it's also because his direction is so downplayed, especially in the holdovers.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought the whole it looking like a 70s movie thing was going to be something you could really bang on with that, but they don't really. It's not in your face about that. They do the classic logos and they make it look filmy at the beginning. The rest of the movie just kind of looks like the movie.
The trailers make it more so that than the actual film does itself.
Yeah, so there's a lot more flashy stuff than what Payne's doing, which can sometimes work, but there usually is that person that gets in that's not necessarily flashy, that gets in because they love the movie that much and they look at the movie in a more nuanced way, and that director gets in. So that could be how Payne gets here. But I don't know. It's
a tough category.
This is getting increasingly difficult as we go. So, which is fun.
Josie asked if there's a pop the question tomorrow. Are we waiting till next week? Actually, I think we're done for the year.
Save your questions for January.
It'll be piggybacking on the movie club that I'm bringing to the table of Rent in January. Only do a 5 minus picture. They only took forever to do a top 10 for everything. Hey, I'm watching movies again, sir. I want to talk about 10 movies. We're going to do that. Let's go.
Well, I missed that whole thing. What was that?
Brian says, remember, only do a top 5 minus picture because they took forever for a top 10 for everything. We took forever for a top 10 for everything?
I don't know. You don't have to be here live when we do things, you know?
Archive is a real thing.
But yeah, I think we had already planned on doing 5.
Yeah,
so,
I believe so. Fun fact.
Not because we're being told to do 5.
No.
Because that's
it's
just
more a case of, I guess the other 5 can just be, brief honorable mentions, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't think I'm talking about Sanctuary on here, you're crazy. Fun fact, Teo Yu's wife is an artist. I think we know our top 4: Barbie, Killers, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. Possibly.
I mean, you ask me, I would say I sound so anti-Barbie when we talk about this.
No, it's just not in your top 5.
But if you go on what I actually feel is happening, I would say the holdovers would end up above Barbie. But when you think about how the Academy will think, not Critics' Choice necessarily. But I could totally be off the mark about Barbie Oscar-wise, but I guess we'll find out.
BAFTA is gonna be the massive question mark, says Brian. I wonder if Gerwig is the top female pick from the jury. As a fan, I want this to happen, but I wouldn't be upset if either Trier or Greta Lee get in.
Celine Song. Greta Lee's the actress.
Minute. I'm tired and I haven't eaten today.
Celine has a chance.
I was doing so well, and then I screwed up. It sucks. Dang it! I was actually giving real discussion and everything, and I just blew the spot right there.
I was gonna let it go. I was like, they know what he means, but I was like,
it's fine. It's okay. I get it. I'm gonna call Uber Eats now and just eat my feelings. We're good.
And then the 10 for Best Picture are American Fiction, Barbie, Color Purple, Holdovers, Kills the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and Saltburn.
It's a solid list.
The Saltburn in Picture is a very interesting choice.
Yeah.
Critics going for Saltburn is interesting to me too, but I'm not necessarily surprised.
Yeah, because it's not in anything in the top. The highest nomination it has after picture is what, cinematography?
Yeah.
It's interesting that, well, damn, I was gonna say it's interesting Anatomy of a Fall is not up there, but I just now realized Anatomy of a Fall wasn't in their screenplay lineup,
Mm-mm.
which is interesting. And I mean, I can't hate it too much because Air is here, but Anatomy of a Fall should definitely be here.
Mm-mm.
Like Past Lives, The Holdovers, and Anatomy of a Fall should be the absolute three in original screenplay, I would say, personally.
That's fair.
As far as like the contenders go.
Sure.
I'm just trying to look because I find it interesting that I still haven't seen any reviews for Color Purple.
I have a feeling it's dropping next week because I know it's opening Christmas
It's opening
week.
on the 25th.
Yeah, it opens on Christmas Day.
You know, my rule of thumb is if there ain't a review for it,
That's a bad sign.
they're trying to bury it. Yeah, so like the fact that the critics apparently love it so much it's in here multiple times, but when it comes to the actual reviews coming out and the critics won't like it, possibly, that's sort of nonsensical. Which critics are they? If they've seen it and like it, why haven't they reviewed it? Like, what are Warner Brothers up to?
January 5th is when the BAFTA long list goes out.
Mm-hmm. That was a aside. The BAFTA video games actually put out a long list for the first time ever, which was weird. I expect it for sort of television and film, but not games.
Interesting.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Everything wrapped up, put with a bow. Oh,
Almost
apparently
three.
there's Dolby early access screenings for Ferrari this Wednesday.
Yeah, it's not one I'm gonna jump to see. I'll wait till next week to watch it. I'm not missing AEW for something that doesn't matter.
No, for sure.
I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna amp up the sound on a Michael Mann movie, Michael Mann's the director you do that with.
No, I plan on seeing it Dolby Digital. I guarantee I'll see it in Dolby Digital, but I mean, still, it'd be like watching Gran Turismo all over again. And the aforementioned Ford versus
Adam
Ferrari.
Driver said to not expect a lot of racing. Apparently there's some, but to not expect like a lot of it, like Ford versus Ferrari was.
Mhm.
So with that,
Okay.
thank you everybody for this nomination discussion stuff with your comments in it as well. So thanks to Josie, to Bry, to Cassie, to Spencer peeking his nose in, and of course those of you watching on archive as well that aren't in the chat but may or may not be in the comments, who knows. In terms of other stuff, I have gaming stuff and snack stashes coming aplenty over the next week or two as we head to the end of the year. Owen, you've got a few Sip and Snacks and Voice Liberty contents, I'm guessing?
I have literally one last 7 sets of Voices of Liberty from my birthday day. The day after my birthday, I went to Voices, and it turned out to be, sad pony, the last day of Voices I got to experience for the entire rest of the year, because I'm not going to get to go back unless somebody pulls a surprise out of nowhere. I don't think I'll be back on the Red Circle till 2024, and it saddens me, but I got my happy birthday, and I was there for the 4th, and I finally get to hear Golden Dream. So, I mean, it's a small price to pay, I guess you can say. Plus, it's damn award season. I have to watch movies all the time, so I don't have time to go to the parks.
And AJ's not got any new movie reviews and verses coming up, I think. So just catch up with the archive.
Yeah, we'll figure when January hits, we'll figure something out.
And of course, you've got all the movie clubs to access archive-wise, the other awards and the other Q&As, all that
Some
stuff.
fun conversation.
We'll be back, at least in this format, New Year's Eve.
Yep.
Make us part of your countdown to 2024 or something. As we give our, penultimate predictions.
No. Oh, no. Me and AJ discussed this one, and we are actually going to be doing one final one in January. That's going to
penultimate means the one before the last one.
I am tired. I need food or bad things will happen to everyone.
It's our last of the big 8, though, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And sporadically throughout the rest of the season, we'll be doing prediction videos, nomination reaction videos.
Expect to obviously that to busy up quite a bit. What with the Globes on the 7th and Critics on the 14th, so you'll be seeing us a few times over those weeks as we try and fit Movie Club in and around it.
Like your Ashley and AJ content, the Globes will be what you're going to want to watch.
But in terms of socials, I can be found at Ash is My Name UK on Twitter/X. Owen can also be found there at Sir Owen Disney and at Popcast Network. AJ cannot be found on social media, and just like Keith Richards, cannot be killed by conventional weapons.
We have to change that up at some point.
No. 2024, come up with something new.
I'll try and find other facts about Keith Richards.
Unlike Keith Richards, AJ will not be in Orlando in 2024. That is a shoot.
So, with that being said, thank you everybody for watching, listening, and until New Year's Eve, that's all we've got to say about that.